Tea Time True Crime with Catie. Hi, what's going on? I'm Catie Brandon. Thank you so much for joining my channel. Okay, so you guys, I recorded about over an hour of the podcast that I'm about to do again, but my mic was on mute, so I'm sending positive energy to you guys. I hope I cried enough on the first draft of the podcast, because warning, this is a very upsetting podcast. Now, I know I talk about horrific true crimes. I get that. But this is a special kind of horrific. I'm going to be talking about a child killer that not only we're talking about abuse towards children, but this killing and these killings are unsolved. Even today. It's a very, very sad one, you guys. All right, so you guys, guess what? We have a sponsor. So before we go to Sad Town, I'm going to talk about the Green Cauldron. So I get DMs from you guys asking where did I get my big crystals behind me and my awesome shirt. Well, maybe not the shirt. This is the first time I'm wearing this shirt. It's good vibes. It goes all the way down. I don't want to flash you guys, but it says high vibing, crystal loving, sunshine seeking, chakra balancing, moonbeam dancing, lover of light. Woo, you almost saw the goods there. All right, definitely check the Green Cauldron out. Behind me is my huge crystals. There is now it says it's an agate, and then the bottom is calcite. And you're wondering, well, what does that have to do with your podcast? Well, I'm just drawn to things. I don't even know what certain crystals are. I literally just go there and pick them out. Honestly, if it just grabs you, then the crystal is for you. Like, you don't really pick the crystal, it picks you. So the big butterfly wings, the yellow ones, it is green onyx, which is like a form of calcite, and it says it's an excellent stone for removing spiritual energy blockages and allowing for the flow of positive vibrations for healing. It may stimulate the mind and help to improve memory. When used during meditation, one can let go of the past and restore their hope for the future. Its high vibrations may also improve vitality and enhance enthusiasm. Definitely need that one. And then the big one, the big purple one, I thought it was just an amethyst, but when I do my rock identifier app, it says it's an agate, and it says it's considered a grounding stone that has many different healing effects depending on the color of the stone, awareness, and it stimulates psychic abilities. Along with that awareness comes self-truth and building of self-esteem and confidence. So yeah, Green Cauldron, you're awesome. Definitely check them out, you guys. They have an Instagram, Facebook. Beautiful, beautiful crystals. And yeah, let's get on to Sad Town. And warning, guys, it's brutal. I'm serious. Viewer discretion is advised. The fact that it's not well known destroys me, because yes, in Detroit, this is where it happened, in a suburbs outside of Detroit, Illinois, in the 1970s. But this case has been unsolved for 47 years. Yeah, it's awful. It is brutal, it's horrific, and it's terrifying. Now, I'm going to be talking about the 4 lost child souls, what happened to them, and also I'll talk about a little bit of the conspiracy at the end. Yes, and what's going on? I am Catie Brandon. If you're just joining me, this is a good vibes podcast, but if you're feeling different kind of energy, I do apologize. I just really spent my whole heart on just doing this podcast, and when I went to go do my editing, it was silent, and I was like, oh my gosh, the mic was muted or something was wrong. Like, I thought, I don't know. I got this awesome camera. It's a 4K. Hope you guys like it. Black Friday sale, people. And so I'm pretty excited about it. But I'm not excited about this story, like, at all. But it needs to be told, because even though the parents are deceased, our last one just was deceased in 2020 because of old age, the siblings are still alive, and family members are still alive, and they really, really want to know answers to this case. So just want to let you know, grab a snack, relax, grab a comfort item. Today's comfort item, I'm doing something different. This is my little witchy plushie I got for my birthday. Her name is Ella. Just gonna give her a nice tight squeeze before we talk about horrific things. Now, I don't know about you, but it's really hard for me to talk about children, animals, and the elderly. It's just a whole different type of podcast for me. But I've come with like really, really good energy. I have my amethyst lights lit up behind me. I have candles burning behind me. I have all kinds of, oh wow, this one burnt out. All right, well, we need to light that one again. Yes. It's some strong energy in here, you guys. But don't worry, I am sending positive and amazing energy to you guys. But yeah, there's very, very strong energy in here because this is a very, very sad crime and story. So, yeah. Thank you for listening to my sponsor. I really appreciate it. And definitely check her store out. It is amazing. Okay, so we're going to go on and we're going to talk about the Oakland Child Killer or Killers. 1976 to 1977. Like I said, it's a 47-year-old case. Barry King, he had a blog about this whole entire case, but sadly he passed away in 2020. But the blog, I'll have it listed. It is still up. It's on Facebook. There's also a tip line. If you know anything about this crime, 1-800-442-7766. And I will say it at the end as well. Then if you want to know more about this case, and it is just horrific, The Kill Jar by J. Reuben Appelman. There's also a documentary Hulu series, came out in 2019, and it's called Children of the Snow. Now, how I found about this story is my mom. She contacted me and talked to me and told me to watch this documentary. I wasn't digging it at all. It was extremely upsetting. It's very informative. It's really wild, to say the least. But then when I saw the ending where it says, if you have any questions or anything that we may close, basically just help us. Let's close the case. Let's find answers. I was like, oh my gosh, I have to do this for my next podcast. I have to grin it and bear it and do the best I can. Yeah, so documentary Hulu series, it's still on there, Children of the Snow, if you want more information. We're going to be talking about the lost child souls of Mark Stebbins, Jill Robinson, Christine Mellick, and Timothy King. Mark Stebbins lived in Ferndale, Michigan, a small town that was built for the baby boomers population. He was born September 13th, 1963, and out of all the lost souls, he's the only one I got the birthday from. I don't know why. I could just find his. But, September 13th, that makes him a Virgo. In 1976, he was a 7th grader at Lincoln Middle School. He lived with his mom because his parents split when he was 5 years old. He had an older brother, Michael, who he looked up to and loved very much. Mark was 12 years old. He was 4'8" and 100 pounds. Sunday, February 15th, 1976. Mark asked his mom to go home after a few of them went to like a social gathering. It was kind of like a gathering, just maybe not far from his home, like at all. And where the mother's boyfriend, and some people were just playing pool and drinking. But of course, that kind of gets bored for a 12-year-old. So, he wanted to go home and watch TV. So his brother Michael actually offered to walk him home, but Mark said, no, I'm good. I can handle it. Now, the mother called home a couple times, and Mark did not pick up. Now, his mother was not flipped out in any kind of way. She did not have any suspicions whatsoever until she arrived at the house at 9 p.m. when Mark's mom came to an empty house. That was it. She was done. She must have had a mother's intuition. So she completely just went to the police right away. And the police are like, listen. I'm sure Mark is fine. There hasn't been a kidnapping here in 10 years. So that kind of made the mother feel better, but still, she doesn't have her son, so kind of went on deaf ears. Now, the search still began, and the distance from the home and the party was only 3 blocks. Yeah, that's it. And they searched. 4 days later, they find his body. He was held captive. They found Mark's body in the snow by an office building that was not secluded. That was actually 2 miles from his home in Southfield. Mark was found curled up in the snow. 2 different police departments were working on this case. One department says that Mark was cleaned up and his clothes were neat and pressed. His coat was zipped all the way up where his hood was covering his head. Another department says something different. Says that he was just thrown in the snow and that there were fecal and urine stains in his underpants and also blood and semen. Now, one technique that the detectives used was that they got a mannequin and dressed the mannequin up in not exactly Mark's clothing, but something really close to it and put it in the area. Now, that does seem like a strange technique, but as I did my research, they did this technique during the Green River Killer and also, the Atlanta Child Murders. So the reason why they do a mannequin is, this is disgusting, you guys, is that they think that the perpetrator or the killer will come back to the body to have sexual relations with the body. That is one instance. Another instance is that the killer comes back to see why hasn't the body been found. And then, of course, another instance is that the killer comes back to see what the killer has done and just kind of like a weird, sick trophy sometimes. Now, this is not a good technique this time, you guys, because where Mark was found, it was not secluded. Like I said, it was not. It was actually close to a public area. So, yeah, that technique did not work. And instead, it destroyed the crime scene because it destroyed the footprints in the snow. And it was back in the 1970s, so maybe the police didn't really understand or know exactly what was happening, or like how to do this. I mean, it's a horrific case. Sorry, there's some weird noises coming over here. It's okay. It might be my cat. All right. Okay. So yeah, that's not good. The actual crime scene was destroyed. By putting a mannequin where Mark was, you just destroy more evidence. Mark was found, and the autopsy figured he was bound. He had rope burns on his ankle and hands. The nails were cleaned trim. He was hit with an object on the head, but the cause of death was strangulation. Now, the object on the head, there's 2 instances that detectives may think what happened. Either It could have been an authority figure or something like that and said, put your hands on the vehicle or something like that. Put your hands up on the vehicle. Or it could have been the killer distracted him, got a butt of the gun, and smashed him in the head to knock him out. Because they said that the bump on the head happened hours. Like hours after he was taken. So it wasn't like right before he was suffocated. Or strangled. Yeah. I'm telling you guys, it's awful. It's awful. Jill Robinson, Wednesday, December 22nd, 1976. Royal Oak. It's 10 minutes from where Mark's body was found. Now, Wednesdays is supposed to be the day where Jill spends time with her dad. Her parents are divorced, and Wednesdays is, her dad's day to pick her up and for them to spend the time together. Well, this day, however, he did not pick her up, and she was on edge, and she was kind of having an attitude. Now, the mother was on edge as well, because she is raising children, and she has to make sure, not only raising the kids and all that, she has to feed them, which you're supposed to do, but she's trying to feed the kids before, rushing them before they go to church. Now, she asked, Jill, can you please make the biscuits? Probably not in that kind of term, but of course, Jill was like, no, she didn't really want to make the biscuits. She just was really, really upset. So it's just a very on edge household right now, which makes the situation even sadder. But Jill has not been getting much sleep, actually. She has been having reoccurring nightmares. Yeah. These nightmares scared Jill so bad. She was so afraid that her mother actually put her in therapy. Yeah, she was working on it. We don't know exactly what the dreams were, what the nightmare was, but Jill was so afraid that she would be shot to death. Now, Jill and her mom had an argument. She's kind of, like I said, everyone's on edge right now. So they have a little argument, and her mother is frustrated and screams, "Get out." And, well, before you come at me, well, Catie, isn't Jill a runaway? Hold on. I'll let you know there how she is not a runaway. Even though she does get out, she grabs her backpack and grabs a few things. A blanket, some makeup, some underpants, I think a pair of jeans, and 2 books. Now, these 2 books are important for this. Hold on. So one of the books had a personal inscription in the book. It was a House on the Prairie book. And the other book was checked out from the library, and it was a Nancy Drew book. She put on her winter clothes and just started heading to her dad's. In fact, before she left, she told her sister, I'm headed to dad's. Now, it is freezing outside, but she decides to go on her bike and starts to bike 6 miles to her dad's house. Now, an hour goes by. Her mom is looking around for Jill, looking everywhere. And she realized she is nowhere near the house, so she calls her father, Jill's father, and hello, is Jill there? Did Jill make it, did Jill go to the house? And then the dad is like, no, Jill is not here. And of course, like any mother would, Carol goes into a panic. Absolutely panic. She just is freaking out. She calls the police immediately, and the police are on alert. They are. But the next day, Jill's bike was found. Now, it was moved around, and it was rode by neighborhood kids, and it was in a business area, which was 3/4 of a mile from Jill's home. Now, the bike is not really good evidence because they think it may have been moved several times. So this is a perfect, advice to say to somebody, don't touch something that doesn't belong to you. Because by them moving the bike, really got rid of evidence. I mean, they could have searched the area, like anything closer to the bike, but that bike was just rode around several times. So that was not a good, that was not good evidence to find Jill. 4 days later, Jill's body was found, I-75 shoulder. She was shot in the face, point blank. She was still wearing her backpack. There was a witness, and he said he was driving his car around 3:30 a.m. and he spotted a 1971 Pontiac Le Mans, and it was idling. Now, the witness drove his car closer to the Le Mans, but then the Le Mans slowly got back on the road and just drove away. The witness noticed that there was it had some premiere stains on the side of the vehicle, and there was a broken left taillight. Yeah. Now this witness swore what he saw. We don't even know if that was the vehicle, but he did see the Le Mans, and he knows it was a Le Mans because if you guys don't know this, in my research, 9 times out of 10, people get vehicles wrong. Unless you get the license plate, a lot of people name the model wrong, name the date. It's just not good. There's not a good clue to finding anyone missing or anything like that because people get things wrong. Now, this guy, no, he swore it was a Le Mans because he actually owned that kind of vehicle, and that's why he knew what kind of vehicle that was. So I feel like that's a very credible witness. Now, when her body was found, she was bathed, her nails were trimmed and cleaned, and she was fed all 4 days that she was missing, but she was held in captivity. Now, her 2 books were missing out of her backpack, and she died of the gunshot wound. Now, she was killed where she was found. There was a sign of strangulation. Okay, so that is horrific. There are 2 instances why, what happened to Jill. Number 1, she was still alive. After they suffocated her, and then when they threw her out of the car in the snow, she landed on her back, and her backpack was still intact when she was found. So when she landed on her back, she probably hit that ground hard and was like, and took a breath, scared the crap out of them. They got the gun, shot her right there in the face. Or number 2, she was already deceased from strangulation, and when they threw her out there, her body just did a reflex, because when her body landed that hard on her backpack, she may have done a noise or something like that. And then they shot her. Now, she was killed where she was found because she had this blood halo around her head, and a piece of her head was missing. You could tell it's oh my God, it's awful. So she wasn't killed and then dumped. I mean, she was killed and that's where she was found. So that's very different. She was not sexually assaulted, and I'm sorry I didn't mention Mark, the first child, lost soul. He was sexually assaulted. I know. He was sexually assaulted by an object. They're not sure of what kind, but it was definitely an object. Now, Jill was not sexually assaulted, but sorry to be disgusting and put this in your head, you guys, but she does have a mouth and hands. I know. I'm sorry. So these 2 kids are gone. And there are police in 4 different departments were working on these 2 cases. I know. Do you think the killer knew, where to drop these kids? I mean, it's just wild that you have these different departments, because these bodies were so close to different jurisdictions. I know. With different jurisdictions, there's a lot of confusion, as you have heard before. So maybe the killer was really smart. I don't know. I don't want to give him or them, I don't know. But awful, 10 days later, Christine Milinek, she vanishes. She just disappears. She's missing. 10 years old, 5th grader at Berkeley, Michigan. On the day of the disappearance, she was helping her mother around the house. Now, Christine asked her mom if she could cross 12 Mile to a 7-Eleven. Now, 12 Mile is like a busy street, and it was not far from her house at all. She wanted to go get the new teen magazine so she could, like, take the teen magazine, you know, like when you, I don't know, have you guys done that back in the day? Please let me know what you guys put on your wall. Let's do something kind of happy right here. Feel nostalgic. Sorry. What did you guys have on your wall? Did you guys go on Teen Beat or 17 and like rip out the posters and hang them on your wall in middle school? I remember my friends hung up Eminem. They hung up like 50 Cent. She like hung up Josh Hartnett everywhere. She loved Josh Hartnett. I had Villy Vallow. I had Villy Vallow, which is the lead singer of Him. I had Dita Von Teese, Marilyn Manson, Korn. Yeah, you know where I went. My sister had like Johnny Depp everywhere. So you guys let me know what like teen idols that you guys had in your collage. I like to know. I think that's really cool. Now, Christine, you're probably wondering, well, what teen idol did she want on that magazine? And it was actually Donnie and Marie Osmond. Yeah. Yes. Now, her mother wanted to say no, but earlier Christine did run an errand for her, and it was just a 5-minute walk. She made it to the store, but she did not return home. People hit the streets, you guys. It was absolute pandemonium. They did everything they could to find Christine. Her father had a gun in his belt running around the neighborhood. They even raised money, about up to $17,000 if there was a ransom. I mean, this town, this community really went together to find Christine. The parents and grandparents went on TV begging for her to return. But sadly and horribly, this is days and days and weeks. 19 days later, the mailman, or a mailman, thought he saw a blue blanket, but sadly it was Christine's body. Her clothes were cleaned. She was bathed, her fingernails cleaned and trimmed, and the cause of death was strangulation. She was alive for 18 days in captivity. There was no signs of sexual assault. She was covered in the snow. Her hand and her knee was sticking out. Again, you guys, I know it says no sexual, but you guys, God knows what happened to this poor child. She has a mouth and she has hands. Yeah, I will get to the conspiracy at the end, even though I really don't want to talk about, because it literally opens a huge can. Like, it is so much bigger than you think. Like, I smell like cover up. Yeah. The serial killer needs to be caught. Everyone is thinking. So police now, you got 3 bodies, 3 children, and the police are going to schools, telling them basically about stranger danger, what to do, don't go in cars. The families, the moms and dads or the moms and moms, or dads and dads, it doesn't matter. The families are telling their loved ones, awareness about like what is happening. So it is a huge deal in Detroit, Michigan. I mean, it is serious. Everyone is on like high alert. In fact, let me know down in the comments below if we should do this even today. I feel like we kind of should. So they were giving plaques that families can put on the window. Now, if you go to the police and you are free and clear, like you ain't a creep, you're not a sex offender, and you have a very clean record and stuff like that, you can put a plaque on your window. So God forbid, if a child is in trouble and they're scared, they can come to your house and you will help them. I think that's kind of genius. So they started doing that. Now, this is where like we go to kind of conspiracy theory. Okay. There's this dude who's named Bush, and there's this another dude named Green, and they are known pedophiles. They are just human garbage, just horrible people. And I'm not just saying like he said, she said. I mean, there's actual on record, like they spent time. They are known to be hardcore pedophiles. So the police brought them in because now police are going through all the perverts, everybody in the area, and those two are brought in. And they have a polygraph test. Now, they passed. Yeah, I know. When I heard that, I was like, there's no fucking way. No fucking way. But I was right. Because years later, it was like a rookie who was doing the polygraph, or that's the excuse anyway. So they let him go. Even though these two are known to be sex offenders. And Green actually said where he picked up the kids, where he picked them up, where he would sexually assault them and got caught. They were the same areas of where these bodies were found. What? Why would you let him go? Why? Bush is apparently well connected. He was from a very, very wealthy family. I'm sorry. Dang it. I thought I cried enough on the first take, you guys. So they let him go, you guys. They let him go. Known pedophiles. I mean, what do you think we should do? I mean, I think we should have a cure for pedophilia. I'm serious. Or castrate them. What do you guys think? Let me know down in the comments below. I know that's not a very good vibe of me, but man, if you guys want to see a different side of Catie, you talk about pedophilia or child killer, I become a whole different person. I'm sorry. I love kids. I do. And like, I just can't imagine. And like, my best friend just had a baby, and it's like, I just cannot imagine if anything happened. Like, universe, we are not claiming that energy. We are not claiming that energy. But I'm just saying. But yeah, the police They let him go. They said the polygraph was passed, but then years and years and years later, it was not. If anything, it would be inconclusive. There was definitely lies in the polygraph, but they let him go. So less than 2 weeks, they let them go. Timothy King, Wednesday, March 16th, 1977. Straight A student, 6th grader at Adams Elementary School, went to go play with his skateboard. He was 4'3", 63 pounds, and he was kind of small for his age. At 8:15 p.m., Tim went to the pharmacy to get some candy. Now, he left the pharmacy in the rear door close to the parking lot with his skateboard. Now, parents came home at 9 p.m. Now, Timothy King, his dad is Barry King. And Barry King is the man who I mentioned in the beginning of this podcast, who had a blog and tragically has passed away. Now, he is a lawyer. He was a lawyer. And he needed a witness for a client, so he asked his wife. Yeah, if you guys hear that sizzling sound, that is my candles going wild right now. The energy is, you can feel it in this room. Okay. Sorry, Barry, if you're here, I send you the most respect. Because he has been, since day one, working on this case for like 40-something years now. And he still doesn't have answers. And every time when he opens the envelope, it just gets way more way more layers, way more, I mean, it's insane. So his parents, you know, his dad doing lawyer stuff, okay, and his mother is with the dad because he needed a witness for the client. So, you know, Tim thought he'd be cool. He's going to the pharmacy. He's doing everything he's supposed to do. You know, has a skateboard. He's right at the parking lot. You know, he's not like right in the front where, you know, everyone can see him kind of thing. But sadly, Timothy did not come home. The parents came home at 9 p.m. and when they didn't see him immediately, they called the police. I mean, it was, again, pandemonium. Barry went on the news pleading, do not hurt my son. You know, for him to, like, stay strong and how much they miss him. It is so sad, you guys. And his mother actually put in the newspaper for him to come home so she can serve him his favorite meal, which is Kentucky Fried Chicken. Now, a witness, a woman, actually saw someone with Timothy in the parking lot at the pharmacy. A white man who was talking to Timmy. He had shaggy hair, like I said, white, dark complexion, 25 to maybe 35 years old, and he had sideburns, and he was driving this blue AMC Gremlin, white stripe on the sides. Now, there was a composite sketch, and it went off. Like, bam. Everyone had the sketch. In fact, police department had a search order where they could search every single gremlin. They searched all the vehicles to make sure Timothy was okay. They did everything they could to find Timothy. But sadly, March 22nd, 1977, his body was found. His skateboard was right by his body. Timothy had rope burns, suffocated. He was sexually assaulted. And his last meal was Kentucky Fried Chicken. The Lost Soul families have been, they have been conducting their own research for the past 15 years. And they have been finding more and more things that just do not make sense with the case. Now the conspiracy theory. Crime Junkie, I believe Ashley Flowers has talked about the Fox Island conspiracy theory. Now, it's not a conspiracy theory, the Fox Island, that legit happened. It was like this really rich dude who bought an island around Detroit, and he made it like a camp for underprivileged youth. And, you know, you thought he was doing something good, but it was a pedophile ring. So what he would do was drive around, him and his rich friends would go around the lower poverty of the city and find these boys that are hungry or they want something. They want a job and they give them an opportunity, and these boys have no idea what they're getting into at all. So these guys feed them and they dine them and they make them feel good. But then what they do is that they do like a trade. They sexually assault the boys in horrific ways, and they take pictures of them. They touch them. It's awful. And they sell these photos and videos to people in Amsterdam. Yeah. There's like a whole, it goes, guys. That's like a whole different like podcast. But definitely check out the Hulu series if you want way more information. But let's just say this. One of the main pedophiles that was caught, because he's done. Like, he's going to be in prison for the rest of his life. Police found connections to him and the 4 boys and for the abuse of the Fox Island escapades. And the police said, if you tell us who is in charge, or like who the ringleader is, like who sets all this up, you'll still be in prison, but you'll be known for just writing like bad checks. Yeah, That's it. But even him, like, he said no. And they're keeping their mouth shut. So what's horrifying is there's somebody really, really up there that they're so afraid of that we may even know that has pedophile rings everywhere. I know, guys. I know. I told you this is a rough podcast. I told you. Like, oh my God. What do you guys think about the Oakland child killers? What do you think? And if you're wondering, what about Green and Bush? Green died in prison. His cellmate / lover, he confessed to hurting these boys, being in some kind of, I mean, yeah, you get it. Bush, though, Bush apparently took his own life. Yeah, suicide. I don't buy that at all, because when you take your own life, you put the gun in the mouth or the side of the head. Bush was found with the gun like right in the middle of the head. Now, this is what I think. I think police officers went into Bush's place and it had all the evidence of I did it, especially when there was a drawing that it looked like Mark Stubbins screaming in pain that was hanging like by his desk. I think one of the police officers realized, you are a son of a, and he just killed him right there, because so many police officers are invested in this case and really want this solved. Or maybe there is corrupted police officers and corrupted politicians that are keeping things hush hush. Yeah, it's messed up, you guys. What do you guys think? I mean, it's a lot. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for watching and listening, and I am sending positive, loving energy to you guys and beautiful energy to the lost loved ones, the child souls that were taken in a brutal way, held captive. God knows what happened to them. It is horrific. And when I look at some of the family members' documents, they're like not even shared. It's weird. I didn't even know about this documentary anyway until my mother told me about it. And this came out in 2019 and it's 2023. Whew, man. Sorry, I drank like almost all my tea in the first podcast, but it was peppermint tea with honey in my black and white awesome floral mug that I love. It's awesome. I think I bought it from Home Goods, Gabe's, Dollar Store. I don't know. Don't really shop much these days anymore. Yeah, but thank you for checking out my sponsor, the Green Cauldron. Green Cauldron's amazing. Check her out. She's incredible. All the good vibes. But yeah, as you know, you are loved and you are cherished. And remember, you are doing better than you think. Until next time, bye.